Current portfolio sitting at $17,500. Pre-market looks juicy. More importantly, though, in this upcoming week, we have seen some indicators that might be a little bit more bullish for the market. Even though our stock futures are a little changed, basically the S&P, the Dow Industrial, the Nasdaq, everything is basically climbing except for the Dow as of the moment. Today, congressional leaders announced a deal basically for the $1.59 trillion dollar spending to avoid a potential government shutdown. This is just, one of those things where we're just printing more money to prevent things from happening, which is fantastic. It's great for the stock market, but for the economy overall, may not be the best thing. Aside from that, Wall Street is coming off of its first losing week in 10, as mega cap tech stocks such as Apple have underperformed per CNBC, and because of that, treasury yields have risen. So, of course, if you don't know, the Nasdaq last year has performed extremely well, and then now, basically since September, it has fallen over 3%. More importantly, though, according to ABC News, congressional leaders have at least reached an agreement on the overall price tag on the next batch of government spending bills, which is great. This is something that happens every single year, usually beginning of the year. Lawmakers announced on Sunday a major step towards averting a partial shutdown, which I mentioned before, and it's set to begin later this month, end of January. The deal would set top-line spending for fiscal year 2024 at $1.59 trillion. Nothing we can't afford, of course. And the amount originally agreed to by President Joe Biden and then House Speaker Kevin McCarthy during negotiations over the government's debt limit last year. The framework proposes keeping in place the $886 billion agreed to for defense funding in the 2024 fiscal year, while also maintaining the $704 billion in non-defense spending that Democrats insisted upon during the debt limit negotiations. Now, the amount mentioned here, $886 billion for defense purposes. I would say that, this could be an opportunity to invest more into defense stocks if you do own any stocks. Now, seeing this and seeing how much we've always contributed to our defense budget, it's always made me interested to invest into certain types of defense stocks that have always done well with winning contracts. Not that, they may potentially win. Companies that have a strong record of winning contracts, like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, those types of things. Aside from that, going into 2024, I think this is going to be a very, very important year, not just for the economy and the stock market, but for people in general, because it is an election year. So, of course, we're going to see a lot of volatility. We might see debt skyrocket even more. It's amazing to see how much debt has increased just from the beginning of COVID up until now. Aside from that, seeing how much Apple has taken such a beating, it's been all over the news. Apple slides to an 8-week low after, its next downgrade in a week. A lot of people are freaking out, and I don't think people should be freaking out as much as they should be. Okay, yeah, Apple lost, nearly $170 billion, in market cap from its sell-off just this year alone. That's a tremendous amount, considering that it was just above, $3 trillion however long ago, due to its capitalization and how much it was valued at. But even with its current declines, it's still well above, an all-time high closing price from mid-December. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And plus, I'm still in the green, so I don't really worry too much. As opposed to, last year, 2023, with how well Apple did, compared to 2022, when Apple at one point hit like $125 a share. It's gonna come back nonetheless. And considering that we've seen Apple take significant sell-offs, in the past couple years, I think this is just another healthy correction. It's not like an Apple stock crash. If we really saw it crash, we would have pretty much seen it by now. But a lot of people are speculating that there will be a strong decrease to Apple iPhone sales. Consumer spending may not be as strong this year or whatnot. But I do feel like a lot of people are gearing up for a better economy because ultimately we're having a presidential election, and I do think that overall, the sentiment will be very bullish. We're sitting pretty strong on our portfolio. We've had obviously a pretty I wouldn't even say a rough last week. It sold off a couple percent, and that's natural. It's a healthy sell-off. But I do plan on making more purchases of Apple coming soon. I am obviously still contributing to my ETFs, which will be a nice little hedge in case the techs don't do well in this part of the year, which clearly has been shown. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And of course, I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.